Peter in Bridgewater, New Jersey writes to me and he says, "Hi, Paul." Hi, Peter. "I am listening to my Beatles mono CDs and they sound great. How is it that the soundstage effect is different with mono as compared to stereo recordings?" Well, I know that a lot of people like those old mono Beatle recordings, and they can sound pretty good, but they don't have a soundstage that's anywhere, not at least anything I've ever heard. I don't think they have a soundstage in that same way. Now, a couple of things are interesting. Years ago, when everything was a mono recording, we had a mono speaker system. That was very typical, that people had a single speaker, a single amplifier, there was no stereo, all the recordings were mono, and that had its own charms to it. Then came the stereo system, the invasion of the Japanese receiver, the starting out with Harman Kardon and that whole group of people who got together and started doing stereo and selling two speakers. My father, of course, had a mono system, and for years and years and years, and he never went to stereo. He objected to it. My father felt that stereo was a marketing ploy by speaker manufacturers who wanted to make twice the money selling speakers. And I'm sure some of that is probably true. It was definitely true for quadraphonic. I was there. I know a number of the people who were involved in the whole quadraflex and not quadraflex, but the quadraphonic sound systems. That they were like, we could sell 4 speakers instead of 2 if we could only, blah blah blah. And of course today, you have surround systems like the Dolby Atmos 13. You got 13 speakers and all that, and that actually does sound pretty darn cool. Anyway, we're off track here. Today, and I'm sure in Peter's case, we're listening to some older mono recordings on 2 speakers, on a stereo speaker system. And when we do that, there is a sound stage in that everything, if you have your speakers set up right, you're going to get that effect where it's disconnected from the speakers, it is behind the speakers, and it forms a kind of soundstage in the same way that any center channel that you hear on a stereo system is created, right? It's the same thing. It's just everything's in the center channel, but you still have sort of a soundstage. I've never heard it escape to the sides like a true soundstage does. If you take my book, The Audiophile's Guide, and you set it up according to the guide, you'll wind up with a stereo system and a decent recording. You'll wind up with an amazing soundstage that extends beyond the sides of the speakers, has depth and height and all of that, and you're not going to get that, or at least if you can, but tell me how to do it, with a mono recording, because to do that, you have to have that stereo image. But yeah, you can get sort of a soundstage from a mono recording, and those can sound great. I just don't think it is what I would consider a classic 3-dimensional soundstage that extends beyond the sides of the speakers. And that's all I got to say about that. All right. Thanks for the question, Peter. Talk to you later. Bye.